Hey everyone, another lightsaber review. I finally completed my setup of my recently acquired Graflex shop Gen 2. I've configured it into A New Hope. So I'm just gonna take you through it and show you how to get the most kind of accurate looking version of A New Hope. So first thing first is I got the version from TGS, which comes with, I don't know if you can see it well here, the head there of the bulb. Normally it's a nice kind of yellow brass color, but they have an upgrade option at the Graflex shop where you can pay a little bit extra to get one which is more kind of aged and weathered, and it comes in a set. So it's the bulb as well as the pins and the little contact strips underneath. So all three of them, I mean, you can see here how aged and sort of weathered they look. I'll try to. So normally they're a little more yellowish, the standard brass color on most Graflexes. Well, this is just an extra option just to give it a little bit more of a rusty kind of aged look, which I really liked. So I went for that option. I'll just take you from the top to the bottom as usual. So obviously the Gen 2 looks really good. It's got a beautiful S-curve and a nice kind of flat top here, which is very similar to a vintage. The bunny ears are perfect. The red button is the best red button I've seen. I've seen the Romans too, looks really good, but this looks much more accurate. It's nice and kind of almost straight up here. The depth of it, the color, they've got this spot on. So I'm very happy with the TGS Gen 2. The switch, which is functional, so inside here there's a little light bulb, and if you put batteries in this, it actually, when you switch this on, it turns on and this thing lights. What else is there? So I went for the Folmer edition, which Folmer just means smoother pins. Normally there's like a step, almost a square end pin, and this is the smooth ones. And it also means you get the Folmer glass eye, which is the older type that was used in A New Hope and probably ESB. So it's got the kind of the sharper incline and the thinner rim there. So this is a Folmer glass eye. So Folmer glass eye, Folmer smooth pins, aged brass pins, contacts, and bulb head. And I felt that combination most accurately represents A New Hope, but obviously it's up to you. I mean, there's not a lot of clear images, so you know, it's perfectly up to you. I mean, if your personal preference is to go for the regular brass ones and the standard eye, I think that'll be all right too. What else? Down here on the clamp, I did one upgrade from WannaWanga where the sidebar has this RAF stamping. So I just swapped out the sidebar that came with it to this one. The lever, you have to take off the washer. There's a little square washer that comes underneath this. You have to remove that for A New Hope because that's more accurate to the film. It's obviously oriented at 9 o'clock, whereas ESB and TFA are, you know, they're facing the other way. They're facing the 3 o'clock side, if you're looking at it that way. The bubble strip, this is by far my favorite. I've tried every bubble strip you can imagine. I've tried Roman props, WannaWanga. I've tried some of the cheaper ones from like the Custom Saber shop and whatever. This is the best one. This comes from an Etsy store in the US called Costume Props. I'll link it down below. The downside of these is that they ship from the US. They're a little tall, so you have to kind of cut them to length and kind of sand them or file them down. But I love how they have these little two right here and over here. You can barely see them, but it stops it from kind of slipping and falling out. A lot of bubble strips just kind of fall out, and the only way around that is to keep tightening the lever. But with this, it fits perfectly and it looks accurate. It looks like a kind of a squished Exactra bubble strip from the old calculator. So it looks just like it. My second favorite, it's like a very close second, is the new one that WannaWanga does. The old one that he had, the classic one, is okay, but the new one that he does, which is called the pinched, it looks a little bit like that, and it's also really good. It's just this one it's a little more translucent, whereas the WannaWanga one is sort of crystal clear. It looks almost more glassy, if that makes sense. This is just a bit sharper, a bit more crisp. I really, really love this bubble strip. I've put this bubble strip now on every one of my savers that takes a bubble strip. So the Obi-Wan, both of my Darth Vader ones. I've upgraded all the bubble strips on mine. So yeah, it looks gorgeous. Okay, and moving down to the bottom half of the hilt. Again, I got, as usual, I get all my grips from WannaWanga. I think they're the best. I mean, some people, you know, I could have got Todd's or something else. They're also very good. It's not a huge difference. It just, because I live in the UK and a lot of those places are in the US, unfortunately, with shipping and customs and just the waiting to get these parts, I sometimes just think, you know, WannaWanga's stuff is absolute quality. So I just went for WannaWanga when I can. So these are the WannaWanga classic grips, which are cut at a 30-degree angle, as is accurate for A New Hope. I went a step further and just slightly rounded them like that, because normally they're cut sharp. Because I've seen some reference pictures of A New Hope, and I think that they are rounded. That's how they look to me anyway. So I went ahead and did that on all of them. I also shortened a couple of them by 1mm. So some of them are 92mm. Like, see the difference is very subtle between like this one and the one adjacent to it. You can see how it doesn't quite touch the bottom of the clamp there. And that is accurate. WannaWanga has brought out a recent revision to his blueprint where the grips are not of equal length. And so I did as close as possible to his blueprint, where some of them are 91, some of them are, I think, 90, and some are 92mm. And yeah, I installed them using his grip guide. What else is there? We've got the handle rivets, those famous 4 mystery rivets that are just on A New Hope. The 2 smaller ones and the 2 slightly bigger ones. Now, a lot of people just kind of pop them through, you know, drill holes and use a rivet gun. I didn't. I don't really like the idea of drilling holes in my flash. So I just cut the rivets, filed them down, and I glued them on. That way I could remove them if I change my mind. And I painted the center black there. I don't know if you can see it well. Just to kind of give it that illusion of depth, so it looks like a real rivet that's been popped. If you look at it from far away, like if it's displayed like that, it looks like a popped rivet. Because if you don't, it's metallic, obviously, inside. And then the D-ring is also from WannaWanga. That's how you orient it. You face these 2 rivets against these double rivets. He's actually bringing out a new D-rivet soon, which is a little less symmetrical. He calls it the wonky, and that is supposedly more accurate. So, but again, this is not pop thin. These are just like these. I cut them, glued them on. But this whole assembly, the D-ring, I did not glue on. I just stuck it with a little double-sided tape. So it's actually stuck with a little bit of tape, and it's very easy to remove. Just in case, if when he brings out his new one, if I decide to go for that, I can easily remove this and upgrade to his newer version. What else do we have? I think that's it, but the lever from this new lever from TGS, I think he's updating that now though, TGS. I think he's bringing out a new so-called version 2.2 or something with his new run of Gen 2 flexes. So I'll look out for that one. If it's more accurate, I'll just change the lever at some point. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I missed that I didn't talk about. No, I think that's it. I mean, installing it was easy. I used the, I forget the name of the, I'll link it down below. It's an excellent tutorial on YouTube. The name of the guy is Matthew, who does it. He'll walk you through step by step how to assemble it together, because you get all these small parts in little bags, and you have to put it together yourself. And if you're a beginner, honestly, it's not easy. The flash assembly here, that black thing inside here, and this button, you know, they could be a bit of a nightmare. You can end up scratching it or damaging it. And so you really want to take your time with it and follow the guide. So I found it very useful. The only thing I had a real problem with are these contact strips underneath. For whatever reason, I couldn't do it the way it was intended to be done, because you need to push them in. So you need to lift this up a little bit, not all the way, and then you need to kind of put them through here and then push it inside and secure it. But once you do that, every time I found that they sort of moved, and they would move away from the hole that they're overlapping, and I couldn't thread the pin in. So they'd lose the alignment, and I have to keep starting over. And I did that so many times. In the end, I honestly just gave up, I'm afraid. And what I did is I just cut it. I just cut that last bit from here that gets tucked under this part. I just cut it, and I put it from in here, and you know, I screwed it on that way. So I don't know. I mean, it looks the same to me, because you're not going to see that extra limb of the contact strip because it hides underneath this bit anyway. So I mean, it's unfortunate that I've had to resort to that, but I honestly just I couldn't figure it out anyway. I mean, and I've done a lot of Graflexes. I've built Romans. I've built sort of every Graflex I can think of. I don't know if it was my specific one that the measurements was off or what, but whatever. Anyway, it's fine. It looks good now. So there's no scratches on it. There's no blemishes. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So yeah, once again, TGS, the Graflex shop, Gen 2, a New Hope configuration. Most of these upgrade parts, especially down in the lower end, are from WannaWanga. Bubble strip is from Costume Props. This will just be a static display. I will be getting the new run of TGS Gen 2, which I will do a comparison when I get it eventually, just to see what he's changed other than the lever. And I will be setting that one up as ESB. So hopefully we'll get those soon. It should be sometime in April. Yeah, but until then, if you have any comments, if you have any questions about Graflexes, about lightsaber building, or anything else, feel free to reach out, leave a comment down below. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.